Hello, today we will be tackling a topic near and dear to my heart. Glee. Glee, the cultural phenomenon of the 2010s. I followed a quirky group of teens as they went through hilarious situations like Glee Club competitions, religion, teenage pregnancy. Thank you, Ryan Murphy, for the Bohemian Rhapsody labor scene. And of course, you bet your ass, clearly I was in show choir. And I dedicated every single week of my life watching the ins and outs of Glee Club in my kitchen on a way too small television, pretending I was relating to literally anything that was happening on the screen when I in fact did not at all. I was very boring. I watched YouTube. I watched Dan and Phil, to be specific. You know I was doing absolutely nothing. And who was the teacher that led the Glee Club? Who was the one that gave them all the success from the show? Will Schuester. He's introduced as a down-on-his-luck man who has a dream of reliving his glory days and reviving the Glee Club at William McKinley High School. Who is he really? A monster. So let's have a little fun and recount all of his crimes from "that's weird" to "I'm calling the police." That's weird. To begin, he's just a bad teacher in general. I swear the school is like a warfare zone. Every day, the loser kids are getting slushied by the football players and the cheerleaders, and the teachers say and do nothing. Literally, Mr. Schuester watches all of his students get slushied and never once gives a football player detention or a write-up or even says anything. Who's running the school? Is it the teachers or is it the students? I would like to know, because right now, this William McKinley High, more like Lord of the Flies. Kind of a rhyme. Kind of killed that right there. Anyways, just saying, I killed that. Here's where it gets weirder. He got married to the guidance counselor, Emma, right? He purposely hosted their wedding at a time when the Glee kids would be back home from college so they could attend his wedding. His best man was a 17/18-year-old boy named Finn Hudson. That was his best man. Where are your adult friends? Who are you hanging out with that your best man is one of your former students who graduated not even a year ago? Who are you spending time with? Do you not go to the bar? Do you not have hobbies? We are begging you, Will Schuester. Please get one adult friend. Season 4 and 5, Will Schuester, are a whole different kind of evil. We're going to start it off with Marley. Marley, who struggles with an eating disorder that's seen throughout the show, and they all blame her for losing her competition on her eating disorder, which is really messed up. That's another topic for another time. Marley felt uncomfortable wearing a bikini for a Lady Gaga versus Katy Perry piece that they had to perform. Now, she didn't feel comfortable, so she wore a Katy Perry outfit. So she says, I was very uncomfortable, so I'm not going to do this. Does Mr. Schuester respect her? No, why would he? He's Mr. Schuester. Instead, she is suspended from the team because she felt uncomfortable with the assignment and voiced her opinion. You know who wasn't suspended from the team? Rachel, when she sent Sunshine to a non-active crack house. Yeah, that's okay. Not wearing a bikini? Not okay. What the heck? Don't like that. I don't like that. In the beginning, he invited students to his house for a party. Don't do that. Rachel's duet partner was missing one week, so of course Mr. Schuester fills in. What song does he fill in, you say? Endless Love. It's very uncomfortable watching a teacher serenade their 16-year-old student with lyrics like, oh yes, you'll always be my endless love, as a duet. Like, just let Rachel sing a solo like she does every week. That's just weird. Why would you want to sing that with your student? Why would your... Like, if my teacher's like, I'll sing that song with you, I'd be like, no, thank you. I'm good. I don't know what he thought. And then to make it worse, he decides to sing a mashup of Young Girl and Don't Stand So Close to Me, which are literally two songs about being attracted to young girls. So that's really weird. There are compilations that you can find of Will Schuester and his weird reactions to his female students while they're performing. All of his faces are super uncomfortable. Like, why are you doing that, sir? Please stop. Please stop making that face.
You were right to shine the spotlight on the fact that those kids are minorities. Because you're all minorities. You're in the Glee Club.
Time to get fired. Will forms an all-male a cappella group called the Acafellas in season 1. The group becomes super popular for like turning the older women on in the crowd. The group's originally Shu, a male teacher, a former male teacher who got fired for being a predator, and then his wife's assistant at work. But two of them drop out. So What does Will do? He fills them in with Finn and Puck, two of his students, if you haven't watched the show. So it's Will, the child predator, and two of his students. And what song do they sing with the two students? I Wanna Sex You Up by Color Me Bad to a room of screaming adult women. What are you doing, man? Toxic performance that horrified millions. God, imagine going to school and seeing your teacher air hump a hat, a fedora to be specifically. There's just something cursed about that. How did he keep his job? Speaking of how did he keep his job, he didn't know Spanish and he was a Spanish teacher. He gets mad that Santana issues a complaint against him because he performed La Cucaracha in class. Then he did a mariachi bullfight song. And he's like, Santana, why are you mad at me? And she's like, because you don't know Spanish and you're doing cultural insensitivities. And he's like, it's the only job I could get. What? In like your 10 years of teaching, you couldn't have like learned Spanish? Never thought of it. And then he wins Teacher of the Year the same year, and it's like, why? What did he do to deserve it? He didn't even know the language he was teaching. I'm calling the police. He did the do during the school day with his wife in a faculty bathroom, got caught by the student, and subsequently traumatized that student for life. He kept his job though. That's Teacher of the Year, am I right, ladies? In the very first episode, let me take you way, way, way back. The very first episode, he stalks Finn Hudson in the boys' showers while Finn thinks he's alone, showering. Finn is singing a song, Can't Fight This Feeling, by R.E.M.? Question mark, question mark, question mark. And then Will's like, wow, this football player's a good singer. We gotta get him on the squad. But football players aren't gonna join because it's not cool. So how does Mr. Schuester get Finn to join? Blackmails him by planting drugs in his locker. Yes, you heard that right. Will buys weed from the child predator who got fired, who had his job before him, and then plants it in Finn's locker. He goes, Finn, you had this in your locker. And Finn's like, that's not mine, that's mine. He's freaking out. He's freaking out respectively, because if someone planted drugs in your locker, wouldn't you be stressed? He's like, I'll pee in a cup. And Mr. Schuster's like, oh, no. You're not. You're gonna be in the Glee Club. You got that? This drug's yours. You're gonna be in the Glee Club. Teacher of the Year. And lastly, we're gonna talk about 2 entire episodes because they are both so dreadful. First, the Rocky Horror episode. Now, I can't lie. I've memorized this episode and I could currently play it in my head right now if you ask me and recite it line by line. It's a special skill I have. But come on, I'm a theater kid. Like, would you really expect less from me? But looking back, Rocky Horror Picture Show should not be ever performed by children. Ever. If you don't know the musical, it's really complicated. There's like themes of acceptance somewhere in there behind like 18 layers of what the fuck is happening right now. But a big part of Rocky Horror is about doing the do. Like, there's a full song where the main character talks about losing her you-know-what and doing the do. It's just not really appropriate for 16-year-olds to perform in the slightest. And the only reason Mr. Shu wants upon this musical is to impress Emma, who is currently with John Stamos, the dentist. And they go to see Rocky Horror at the movie theaters. And they're like, wow, this is amazing. And Emma's like, yeah, it's curing my OCD. Which, once again, another video for another time. And it gets worse because they put adults in the show. Like, John Stamos plays Eddie, who's a love interest of one of the students' characters, which is like, if I was a student and they were like, this is who's playing your love interest, it's a full-grown man from Full House, I'd be so stressed and so uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to date someone my grandpa's age, you know? And then it gets even more worse because Sam steps down and Sam's playing the character of Rocky. And Rocky's character wears really tight shorts and Sam doesn't feel comfortable in them, so he doesn't take the role. Well, Sam's character is the one that is part of the song about doing the do. And Mr. Shu's like, I'll play the role and sing Touch Me with my 16-year-old student, Rachel. Ew! And then he's like, Emma, will you help me practice my lines? Which he's only playing the role so he can get with Emma. And then him and Emma sing the song and almost do the do in a classroom. This is considered the worst rated Glee episode of all time. And it perhaps is the worst episode of all time. The end of the twerk. Mr. Shu becomes obsessed with twerking. He's like, we have to have it in our nationals performance because it will make us more edgy. Which is, 1, weird. Why do you want your students to be edgy? And 2, they don't need to be edgy. I perform show choir. The judges are like 60 years old. They'll be fine. Anyways, so Sue is like, no, they can't twerk. It's inappropriate. And Sue's like actually reasonable here. It's kind of weird. It's kind of crazy. And Mr. Shu throws a fit. And he's like, no, they're gonna twerk. And what does he do? He sings the song Blurred Lines with students twerking around him. What? So Mr. Shu gets even madder because Sue's like, oh, hell no. And he puts on a presentation to the school board of why twerking shouldn't be banned. He's like, it'll be a fun dance move in 50 years from now, like the sock hop and the jive. And the school board lets it go. So there's a side plot going on with Unique. Unique is a trans character in the show. Unique is unsafe in the bathroom due to being trans and getting attacked by students around her. So Mr. Shu has to escort her to the locked faculty bathroom in order to feel safe. And Sue sees this and she's like, I'll cut you a deal. Unique can use the faculty bathroom and I'll give her the key as long as you stop your kids from twerking. And Mr. Shu, what does he do? He throws a giant hissy fit and trashes Sue's office. He literally says he'd rather his student be unsafe and him stand up to Sue. Like, I'm not kidding. Those are the words out of his mouth. This man is the worst man on the earth. Over twerking. He'd rather have his student be unsafe than his kid stop twerking. What the hell? I think I've made my point on why Will Schuester needs to be locked up. He's weird. If he comes near your school, run. Sorry, my voice sounds like this. I'm sick. I'm dedicated to the Stop Will Schuester agenda. Sick or in health, I will stop this man. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, please. I'm sick.